The other thing that I like to do is to try to add a little bit of strengthening to this area, right? So I think largely the reason why people get into trouble with metatarsalgia is because they don't take the time to slowly build the capacity of the tissues in the front of the foot, right? So one of the things that we can do to help boost the strength and capacity of this area is just by applying a well-rounded strength conditioning program, right? Early on, when someone has a really irritated metatarsalgia, we might not be able to get away with too much. Things like calf raises might not feel good just because you're putting weight towards the met heads. It might be pretty uncomfortable. So it's not something to push too much of early on if you don't feel good. But oftentimes we can get away with things like toe yoga. So things like creating a short foot. I can put a link in the show notes if you've never heard of a short foot. You can do toe scrunches up this way. You can do toe spreads. You can do great toe extension, all the rest of the digit flexion. You can reverse it back and forth. So you get a little bit of work of the foot intrinsics from that perspective. I also like performing calf raises on a half foam roller, right? So let's say I have a half foam roller. This is my forearm. It's obviously not a half foam roller. But if I have a half foam roller and I have the entirety of my foot, right? Let's say this is my foot right here. If I put my weight just beyond the metatarsal heads and then perform calf raises like this, I can get away with doing calf raises in a way that doesn't aggravate the metatarsal heads, right? Another exercise I like a lot is going to be calf raises with the metatarsal heads off the edge of a step. So the only thing that's holding on to the step, let's say this is the step right here, the only thing that's holding on to the step are going to be the toes here. You do your calf raises like this. These are very, very challenging for the foot as well as the toes, and they don't put stress on those metatarsal heads, right? The other thing I like to add in over the course of time as things are progressing are tib raises. So back to wall tib raises, making sure we're strengthening all the musculature around the foot and the ankle in the back of the lower leg. So the calf, obviously, but as well as the front of the lower leg, like the tib anterior, right? I also am a big fan of heel float variations. So let's talk about, let's say, a step up. If I do a step up, typically speaking, I'll put my entire foot on the step and step up. You can also just have the front of the foot on the step and step up that way, which is a phenomenal way to strengthen the musculature in the lower leg as well as the musculature in the rest of the chain. And over the course of time, we just kind of increase the challenge of the movements. And eventually, as you're starting to feel better, we incorporate things like running. We incorporate maybe some more sled pushes again. We start to incorporate all those movements that used to be pretty provocative, right? But you want to make sure you do it with low loads, right? And over the course of time, progress to higher loads, higher speeds, higher intensities, right?
So here's what I want you to do next, guys. If you enjoyed this video so far, I have an entire course. It's free. It's called the Fitness Pain-Free Mini Course. And we go over 3 lessons going to help you take a lot of this information that we went over so far and put it into practice. The first lecture is called Why We Need a Better System. So first and foremost, the way we treat fitness individuals, all right, athletic people in the gym from a physical therapy perspective is pretty much broke, okay? So we need a better system to serve the folks that are in the gym that get hurt, they want to get back to training, all right? Lecture number 2 is called 7 Reasons Why People Get Hurt in the Gym. And essentially, we have to know the reasons why people get hurt in the gym so we can keep them safe in the future, right? And when they get hurt, we have to know why and how to get them back to training in the gym. Okay, so a thorough understanding of this is very, very important. I actually have a really cool infographic that goes along with this lecture that you get for free as well. And lastly, we go over a case study of how to get someone out of pain and back to training. So these principles are all phenomenal, but we don't actually put it together and you don't understand how to create a program to get people back in the gym and keep them safe for the long term, then we lose, right? So I'll put a link in the show notes for this. It's a Fitness Pain-Free Mini Course. Definitely check this out.